Hello, and we're back, my friends. And this time I have with me Piotr Delgado Kusielczuk, also known as the Mexican Runner, the famous Mexican runner. Hello and welcome.
Hello, it's very nice to be here.
Thank you. Lovely to have you here. So thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for agreeing to join us here tonight at this interview for this great cause. And let's start straight away because we're already a little bit late. So let's start straight away. Guys, the Mexican runner TMR doesn't know the questions. He's the only guest that said, don't send me the questions. I want to be surprised by your questions. So here we go. The first question. We start easy. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do as the Mexican runner? Who is the Mexican runner?
Someone once says that I'm the man of the people. So yeah, I'm the man of the people. Simple answer for a simple question, right? Well, my name is Piotr Delgado Kusielczuk. I'm half Polish, half Mexican. But I was born and raised in Mexico, so that's why I call myself the Mexican runner. Well, not only why, but yeah, mainly. So on the internet world, people knows me as the Mexican runner. I am a Twitch streamer, entertainer. I'm a musician by profession, but I'm not doing that professionally now anymore. But I sing in the shower. I guess that counts as being a musician, right?
Don't we all? I do that as well. Okay, so can you tell us where did your nickname come from? Why the Mexican runner? Are you running somewhere or?
Yeah, well, I mean, it comes because I'm a speed runner, right? I was when I started streaming, I was doing races with a group of people at Speedruns Live. So on a call, they say, "Are you ready, Mexican?" Because my name is obviously very hard for a lot of people to pronounce. So then someone in the same call say like, "Oh, Mexican runner, that sounds cool." And I was like, well, that way I will save myself a lot of time by people asking me, where are you from? Then I mean, I will save a little bit of like for people to don't ask me those questions. And they will know where I am from. So yeah, that's basically where it came from, the Mexican runner. And because I was pretty much all my life in Mexico. Just recently, the last years, I moved to Poland. But
all right. So are you living in Poland now?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
At that point, I was actually in UK at that point, but I never really lived like in Poland.
Sure.
So yeah, I always felt more Mexican than Polish, but I have both nationalities, and I feel both now. If you ask me, but now that I have met my Polish side,
nice.
And the Polish culture as well. Yeah.
I can relate so much to people being hard to spell your name because my name is Przemek, which begins with PRZ. Yeah. And that PRZ, I'm living in the UK for like 20 years now, and people always have problem with pronouncing my name because they go, it's just not working. So I know what it feels like. Exactly, yes. Yeah. I know what it feels like to have your name in a different country, which is sounds a little bit weird. So you speedrun the games, basically. Is that? Yeah, that's how it all started.
Yeah, well, I mean, I started watching as many people, probably many speedrunners, like they just start watching other speedrunners. You hear about events like Games on Quick, and well, you just start watching like the elite of speedrunning, which are very skilled players, to be honest. They put a lot of hours. So yeah, I started by watching. Then that website Speedruns Live had like the chance of doing races. So I was just racing with some friends, and eventually I decided to speedrun the game from my childhood that I enjoy a lot, which was Baltos. Eventually I got a world record, and then it started making a little bit of history. A lot of people started to raid my channel, and it started to grow up. But yeah, it all started like speedrunning.
Nice, excellent. Sounds really good. But let's talk about speedrunning a little bit later. Let's come back to your the Guinness World Record, because that's the part that's interests me the most.
All right.
You hold the record for completing every single NES game that's been ever released. Is this correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tricky, like hold a record, but I was the first person known in the world to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
To do that, which was not an easy task for people who don't know. I completed all the 714 licensed NES games, becoming the first person to do that. And you ask me, how do I describe myself? Well, I guess I'm very humble. I didn't mention all the things I do, but it's good that people make the research like you, right? Like, you know about that world record. Well, I talk about that world record. Like, if someone asked me, hey, you were the other day crossing the street. I talk about me crossing the street, right? But yeah, I did. I did that. It took me to 3,454 hours.
Wow, that was actually one of my questions. How long did it take you?
Yeah, well, in total it was like 2.5 years. I was not all the time when I was streaming doing that, because I was also speedrunning, and also I was in the meantime, like my full time thing, it was taking care of my mom. I was just streaming on a side because it was well, I mean, my mom had a very chronic disease that it needed 24 hours attention. So
I see.
So yeah, I was on a big task.
Wow, so this must have been really hard for you to like take care of your mom and then doing that project as well, and then speedrunning the games as well.
Yeah, it was extremely hard. It was extremely hard, like in terms of pressure, because I mean, I was really young when I started to take care of my mom. Like, I was 26 years old, and I like took care of her like for 6 years, like actively, which is very draining, right? Like,
wow, respect, man. Nothing but respect for you for that. Wow.
Yeah, just I knew like if I didn't do that, like no one else will do it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
so how did you make a decision to start that? Like, did you think, oh, I'm gonna play all of the NES games to get the Guinness World Record, or how sort of that came to to be?
Yeah, the reason why I started that challenge or quest is because I was a little tired of speedrunning. In fact, I was actively speedrunning Castlevania 4, and with the SNES controller, when I was holding it like this, it started to hurt my back of the finger.
Oh, I see.
And because of that, like, it was painful for me to speedrun, so I knew I needed to like take a break, but I really didn't want to take a break because I'm a competitive person. And I was like, well, if I'm not speedrunning, what I will do, right?
Of course.
Like just playing games for fun was not fun for me, because I feel like I'm not achieving or anything at all. So I was just having a Skype call with some Chilean friends, like we were just talking ideas and stuff, and well, somehow the project came to life. There was a streamer, Big John, making A to Z, like stuff like that. So he was playing a game like for 3 minutes from A to letter Z, to complete like a, well, not complete a console, like just to show games, but like he just, my friend just throw like, oh, maybe do that, and I was like, play a game for 3 minutes, like that's not for me. like what is that? Like, you don't even get to get used to the mechanics. So
yeah.
Then he was like, well, then beat all the games. I was like,
okay then.
I mean, that's an idea, right? Like, it just started like a friendly conversation, which I mean, I was not even thinking like, oh yeah, I should get the world record. I didn't even know. Like, I was like, well, I mean, that sounds cool, like fun. So later on, after I started, like it made big news everywhere. Like a lot of people were coming to the stream, like some of them like rooting for me, some others like, oh, which
Nice.
game is gonna break him or something. I didn't have a clue. Like back in the day, I did a 2K follower special where I supposed to beat the 30 hardest NES games, which probably were not the 30 hardest. After beating all of them, definitely I can say that they were not the hardest. But I thought like, oh well, I already kind of beat the 30 hardest, so
Yeah,
how
yeah.
hard could be beating the rest, right? I knew nothing. A young TMR, short for the Mexican runner,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
not know anything, or what was coming after. But like definitely the whole support of everyone in the community is what kept me going.
Yeah, definitely. And in projects like this, I can only say because I've never done anything like that. But like even for something like this 24-hour stream, the support you get from your community is absolutely great. It just keeps you going. If you see the people that are there for you and they're willing to just be there for you, even if it's only just watching you doing things, you're like, yes, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
carry
mean,
on.
it's not only watching, like the people is very supportive. Like if you actually listen to the people, like they come up with really brilliant ideas.
Yeah,
And
definitely. I definitely agree.
and it's just amazing, and it also creates a bond between you and them, and for them it's really nice because you're there listening to them,
Yeah,
and
that's good. And like the building aspect, like building community, is always something that's really important to me as well. In my
I
stream.
already had a community which was a speedrun community, but when I started that project, like a lot of people who didn't even know me as a speedrunner, like they just came and like they were just attracted to that project,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like were very attached to it. That even when I was just like another day, let's say like taking a break and speed running, like people were like, "Oh, I didn't subscribe for this." They were mad that I was not actually doing this money. I was like, "What the hell?"
Why play NES games?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like it got
Excellent.
really intense. Like there's a lot of different people, but it definitely created like a I don't know how to call it, like. That people were very attached to it.
It's like I think when people see passion, then they like they just want more of it, because obviously you can see some people just playing games, but if you do something and people can see that you do it out of passion, that you just really want to do it and you're into it, then you do something else and people are like, no, I want to see that other thing, when and he's just like, oh, give me that. So maybe that's what it was. So how did the Guinness book came to think? Did you contact them? Did they contact you? How did that came to be?
Yeah, I mean, like when I finished, like people were telling me, "Oh, you should apply for Guinness World Record or something like that." And I was like, "Well, how do you even do that?" I mean, it's something that is not on the normal day, right?
Yeah.
Of everyone's life. So like well, people kind of direct me like, well, you can go to their website and just submit what you did, and they have verifiers. Well, I had a lot of footage, like real footage that happened with, because since day one, like we kept a detailed track of everything, every single game beaten and everything. So yeah, I mean, like, and I'm a very legit player by everyone. So yeah, that
Sure.
was like the process. Just making the application, then well, the verifiers verify, and once they accept it, well, they publish it in the books, and it got
Nice.
published in the gaming edition of the Guinness World Record.
Do you think they watched all 3,500 hours? Every single
Personal,
thing?
Personally, I don't think so. Because it's just way too much, and they don't have like maybe a lot of stuff. Like they can do in presence verifications, but for a project like this, it was pretty much impossible to
So I'm
do
just
that.
thinking, like, how would they even verify like so many hours of gaming?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. What helped me out is that websites, big websites like Kotaku and many other related websites, like they made really big news for the last day.
Wow. Okay.
So having that kind of background, like it just makes them like I guess like accept the process and that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
legit or something like that, like many sites backing you up, and
Mhm.
no one calling you a cheater or a faker or whatever, which I
Nice.
have never. Well, I mean, outside of the mean YouTube troll comments,
Yeah, of
like
course.
no one has really called me a cheater or accused me of cheating, right?
They will always be there. People like that will always be there, just
Yeah.
just to crap on your day.
Yeah.
So, did you get like a sort of like a certificate or something saying this guy holds world record for or Guinness Book record for beating
I
all the
did.
NES games?
I did not hold a certificate. No, I didn't. I was
No.
just published in the
All right,
book.
fair enough.
I believe like it's possible to ask them for a certificate, but I never did.
Yeah, maybe you should. Maybe you can hang it on the wall or something. Saying, yeah, this is my legacy.
I guess my legacy is out there on the internet, regardless of if
Well, I guess
I'm
so. Yeah.
awarded as a, like nothing in history books of, I don't know, museums of NES, like maybe even Pat, the NES country, like he talked in his podcast about that, me finishing all the NES games, and it just make big news because it's Nintendo,
Yeah.
right? And it's very popular,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
the actual Nintendo heart, and it blew my mind that no one really did something like that. Like no
Yeah.
one really set their mind to do something like that, and it was pretty nice. I mean,
Nice. Okay.
it was crazy that in 2014 when I started, like no one really came out with that, and everyone is a gamer in the world, right? It was
Yeah.
just crazy.
Interesting. So you said before that people said these are the most difficult games, but they weren't. So which one was the most difficult one to beat?
Well, I mean, there were several games. I have like hard exclamation hardest in my chat, like to help me out. But on top, I can tell you that some RPG games were very difficult because they were really cryptic. So, like basically, without not having knowledge, like you have to search every square, like in order to find a secret item that unlocks something, or
Of
just
course.
play a flute in a particular square. Or it's just like that can be very cryptic, and a few of those were really hard for me because it's very cryptic. Like
Yeah.
you need to read the manuals and stuff. There were some hard executional games like let's say Qbert,
I
Arkanoid.
remember that game. Qbert is it that guy that is like a pyramid, and he jumps on the squares? It's something like this, or is it something like that?
Yeah. The guy is like a UFO with a very big nose.
Yeah,
But,
I remember that game.
It is like a pyramid cube. And he jumps
Yeah.
from
That's it.
spot to spot.
I remember that.
Yeah, it even make it to a movie, Wreck-It Ralph, and there was Cube there, like when he was dying, he was like just putting like the really weird signs, like kind of.
It was a good game, Qbert. I remember enjoying that game back in the day.
Yeah, so games like those ones, Athena, I believe, like it had some cryptic thing that if you die at certain point, like you were not able to beat the game. So yeah,
right.
there were many games that were really weird, like Ghostbusters had like a glitch that if you don't have knowledge of that glitch, it's pretty much unbeatable as well.
All right.
Yeah, there were several games that it was difficult.
Fair enough.
Sometimes, like it was like, for example, I was playing Tetris 2, and whenever you die, like it asks you for like you wanna retry, but it asks you very quick, so you put yes or not.
Yeah.
But if you were doing the movement of the previous piece before you die, like sometimes you manage to somehow answer the wrong thing, and if I had to beat 99 levels and I was in level 63, I had to start over. And
God.
That can be also difficult for people, taxing.
I can imagine how this could be you could just go, screw it, I'm not doing it anymore. But you persisted, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, taking care of my mom definitely taught me a lot of patience. Also, living with my mom, she had a very particular character that, for me, well, I learned to be patient, right?
I see, understand. Lano, which is, I think he's your moderator, he hooked us up, actually, Lano.
Yep.
He tells me to ask you about the game that taught you the piano playing.
Yeah, I had there's a game that required external hardware, it's called Miracle Piano Teaching System, which is a keyboard that you can hook up to the NES, and it's a, well, teaching system. So you go through all the lessons to actually just learn how to play piano a little bit. It took me about, well, it was the longest game actually. It took me 94 hours or 92 or 98, wow. I don't remember. And I'm a musician, so, well, I mean, I didn't play the piano prior to that. I mean, I did study like 2 years, but not very active. It was just complementary lessons. So basically, it's like I didn't really learn. But during the game, well, you're forced to play, and definitely requires a lot of.
Did it actually taught you how to play piano? Did you actually learn to play piano because of that game?
Me, no. For me, no, it didn't, because I already knew, like, basically what the lessons teach you, like reading music, like what the flat and sharp notes do and stuff like that. So I already knew that.
I see.
If you don't know that, it definitely teaches you that, which is great.
Nice.
And rhythm and many things about music, which is great. And how they teach music to English speakers as well in that game, right? Which is, I mean, it can be useful, like in this world where there's plenty of tutorials.
Yeah.
So yeah, those games were kind of cool. There was another game I wanted to mention about, but well, maybe it will come.
Never mind. Okay, so you talked about the longest game. What was the shortest game during that?
It was Chess Master. It took like 52 seconds. I did like the Shepherd's. I don't. The Shepherd's Gambit, the Queen Gambit I did. No, I don't remember what is the name in English of that move, but it's the Shepherd's Mate or something like that.
Okay.
And basically, yeah, kill the king really fast.
Okay, I see.
Well, checkmate,
cool.
Checkmate the king.
Right, I see. Checkmate the king. Also, it was just chess game, and you actually beat the king in 52 seconds. You get to the checkmate in 52 seconds. Nice one. I like that. Great. Excellent. I've not played chess for ages. I would actually like to play chess. Yes. Did you know how to play chess then?
Yeah, I did.
You knew. Excellent.
I actually I like chess. I'm not a very good player, but I'm, I guess, average could be, but maybe not at average. Below average? I don't know.
I think I'm the same. I think I'm below average, but I like to play chess, but I can't do it really well, but I just like to. It makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you plan ahead as well. It is a good game.
Yeah, it's definitely the game of kings.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it's called. So, okay, next question is that, my content on my channel, within my community, revolves around the game called Elite Dangerous, which is the fourth game from Elite series. It's the space simulator.
Oh.
And I read on Wikipedia, because I did some preparation for our interview, and I read on Wikipedia that you said some games that you were playing for that NES where you couldn't beat them, as in complete them from start to finish, because they were like, it was only for high score or something, so there wasn't like an end to this game. So you set some sort of criteria for yourself, and you said, if I do this, that will be classed as beating the game. Yeah. And from what I read, that you got in concert with Ian Bell, who was one of the creators of the original Elite game from 1984. It was this white lines on black background, just like wireframe spaceships game, and he sort of told you how you can beat that game, what you can class as beating that game. Do you remember anything of that?
Yeah, of course I remember. I did not contact him myself. It was actually a viewer who wrote to him on Twitter.
Okay.
when I was playing the game, because yeah, like defining winning conditions was always like a trouble, especially if no one really did that before. Like, oh, okay, what will be considered beating this game, right? That it was just meant to go forever or for a high score. So for that one, you had like particular ranks or that you could get, but the game well had missions and that was the thing. Like I mean, I was just playing the game, and while I was playing the game, like Ian Bell actually answered to the person who asked him the question, what will you say will be considered beating the game, right, of Elite on NES? And he said, well, probably just making the two main missions. I will call that consider finishing the game. and that was actually the goal I did for that one. I mean, it was still a nice goal because you get to play the game. You had to know how to warp and you know, like you really need to know how to play the game.
Yeah, definitely.
In order to achieve that, it was not like, oh, it just happens in 3 minutes, right? Don't remember like how many hours it took me the game. It might have been. I don't remember, but I do remember that I can tell you like how it was the people contacting him.
Yeah, it was good because I mean, like this guy is sort of like an icon around community of Elite games, because obviously he was the creator or co-creator of the first game. So when I read that you actually spoken to him, I was like, wow, that's really cool, man. Speaking to Ian Bell.
That was well. I did not speak to him
Oh, it's someone. Sorry, so he spoke to somebody, and then they told you to do these 2 missions or something.
Yeah, well, it's just like memory is really bad. Probably, maybe someone from my chat knows.
Yeah, it's alright, you know.
But I believe I did not contact him because you know I just get into the game basically. Nice. but yeah, people is like, oh, you know, like I mean they actually contact him and boom, like that was what happened.
Nice. Did you enjoy the game? Did you like it, Elite?
Yeah, I mean it's like. I don't remember. I think it was lack of music. That was my only complaint.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have music. It was just like, but you know, as a space simulator, like I was really blown away, like how they solve all the problems, right? Like how they really like once you learn how to pilot your plane and everything, your airship.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a very well thought game. Like many times when I play a video game, I try to put myself in the shoes of the programmer. Like, oh right, you know, it's very easy to complain. Oh, maybe not the best graphics or something.
Yeah.
But how do you solve the problems, right? And the way they did like many stuff to still make a game very like entertaining and cool.
Yeah.
Well, for the player, right? I'm not sure what was the conception of people watching me play that. It could be confusing, right, if you're not the one playing it. But yeah, it was pretty advanced.
Yeah, I think at the time it was considered quite revolutionary how they packed everything in that, you know, in so little memory.
Exactly, like that's amazing. I mean that's just amazing.
Yeah, because I think it's there were 2 guys. There was one of the guys was called David Braben, and he did all of the procedural generating, and then Ian Bell did like the story sort of missions and stuff. So
I just remember what I wanted to tell you when I was talking about the hardwares. Like there was a game that I did have Rob the Robot. In Mexico, the game was called Stack Up. That you need Rob the Robot. That he just basically looks at the screen, and when it flashes, like he moves, like he follows your commands, right? So I had Rob the Robot in Mexico, but we traveled to Poland to take care, to continue the treatment of my mom here. So I couldn't naturally pack everything, so I had to leave Rob the Robot there in Mexico. But then there was the task community. Well, a person, Link777, he was like the link between me and I don't know if you have ever seen the task bot.
No, never heard of that.
He's basically a bot that looks like Rob the Robot on the NES. He's able to actually send real inputs to the NES. And,
right, okay.
Basically, you can play or will do a tool assisted on real hardware, which is
Wow.
not on emulator, right?
Yeah.
So it's just pretty insane. Like there's the whole community of testers involved in tweaking that out. I know Micro is another tester that did a lot of the coding, but Duango and Duango actually helped me out because he had an extra Rob the Robot, and he had the what is his name? The task bot. That's what they call it, the task bot. So I was basically controlling the task bot from my end here in Poland, sending the inputs to the task bot.
Wow.
The task bot was doing the inputs right there in the United States.
That's
And
amazing.
Rob the Robot that was connected, because taskbot it looks like Rob the Robot, but he's basically translating the inputs, right? And Rob the Robot was actually doing what it has to be done, right? Also, I had to order like the blocks from Japan
Yeah.
to arrive to his place, so he had all the blocks. There was a pretty nice like involvement of the whole community. Like, to me, it was just crazy.
Yeah, that
how
sounds
I
really
was
good how they,
I was able to play via my USB connected controller
Yeah.
to the computer to send inputs to the task bot, that it was actually play on original hardware
Wow.
there in the
Yeah.
United States. It was just insane. So technically, I played in original. I do have the game. I do have now the taskbot here with me, but not the taskbot, the Robot. But yeah, that was pretty nice. That was pretty nice.
Wow, that sounds pretty amazing. It's
Really
it's
insane
really
tech.
cool.
Really insane tech.
Yeah.
I mean, I was blown
Wow.
away, and yeah, it's just a side story, right, on the project. Like many stories happened, but yeah, that's one.
Yeah, I bet like after because it took you such a long time, there must have been some things happening around that whole project as well that that were pretty cool like that.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
As someone is saying in chat, like there was some drama because I did a mistake in my input,
Yeah.
and the blocks fall,
Oh.
and the person like was working, Duango was working, so he had to call his wife like to fix it, because I couldn't physically fix it, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I couldn't continue playing the game if that was not fixed. But yeah, it was
Oh,
it
brilliant.
was it was pretty funny.
Oh, nice. Okay, so let's talk about speedrunning the games a little bit now. Let's enough about NES now, because somebody was saying it's a question about NES mania all the time. Let's talk about speedrunning the games. How many games in total did you speedrun so far? Do you know? Well, roughly, obviously. Hundreds, thousands?
No. I mean, like, if you wanna be a competitive speedrunner, like, you cannot just do thousands, like, or hundreds. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like in order to have competitive times, since many people have played those games and have improved, and the speedrunning community is constantly improving times, it's just really hard. So you have to become a specialist of a game or a few games.
Oh, okay, I see.
So yeah, the games that people know me or I have speedrun, that I can name, was Contra, Battletoads, Darwin Dog, Bar vs. the Space Mutants, The Lion King.
Oh, the Lion King game. That was a good game, that. I remember that.
On SNES, yeah. Super Castlevania 4. I did speedrun Cuphead. And I think, like, well, I mean, I might have speedrun. Oh, Adventure Island too. How dare I forget Master Higgins? Yeah, I like that game a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah. Adventure Island 2. Yeah, and Adventure Island 3, I do have the world record. Still, I don't consider myself a speedrunner of that.
I was going to say what was the fastest game, but I think you've answered that before. Was it the chess game? Like, was the fastest you've ever beat on a game ever?
On NES Mania, yes. Well, ever? I don't think that was the fastest. No? Like, there's games like Hangman or some other games that I have gotten on Commodore 64 recently that are just crazy. I can't remember on top of my head, but basically you just play and the game has like no winning condition. It goes like forever. So you have to get the high score. The high score was 0. So I mean,
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
it is like how do you say? Well, I completed the game, right? Like the game had nothing else to offer in the second stage because it was pretty much the same as the first one. So, but you know, like that's probably not very well accepted by the consensus of beating a game,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I mean, just technical definitions. But yeah, for the sake of the interview, I think the NES chess game is the fastest game I have.
Fair enough. Okay. So can you tell us, like, when you choose your next game for speedrunning, like, what are your criteria? Do you go like just random? I want to speedrun this game, or do you like spend some time thinking what game next would you be speedrunning?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Ah. All right.
O na zdrowie.
Dziękuję. Thank you. So, I mean, the only game that really have my heart is Balto. So the other games that I have speedrun are just like a plus, I say. But that's the truth. Like usually, what I focus on when I choose a game to speedrun is that I play the game in my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, it has to be an NES game, basically.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, so do you speedrun only like retro games? Or do you do like modern games as well?
No, I don't modern games. I don't do modern games. Well, I did play Cuphead and Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which came out this year, but they're still retro-like. So,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
tried
modern games,
Cupcake, but I couldn't. It's just too hard for me. Or Cuphead, sorry.
Yeah, so having played all those NES games, like whenever I play like a modern game, it's quite easy for me to get like speedrun strategies immediately or to see. I guess it also comes with experience of beating or trying to beat games fast. That you learn what works, what doesn't work in your in your quest of beating a game.
Sure.
So I have a lot of experience with that. That's why a lot of games are not that difficult for me, especially the modern games, because they're more thought about like the average player, right?
Yeah.
And they usually have like 3 different settings of difficulty, which makes it quite easy. But of course, you don't always have to go for the very harder difficulties. But yeah. Like I keep in mind that that has to be like a game that I played in my childhood because that way I have like a sentimental value to the game. So it makes it more enjoyable, like the process of repeating the game over and over and over and over again. But yeah, I mean, like lately I have been not quite speedrunning actively, but I still do have like a lot of reputation and I do the games that I did speedrun. I still have like the top times, which makes it very convenient for marathons to be invited and play on those ones because they know like I'm still at top level. So that despite of not being an active speedrunner lately,
you still got it.
I still got the speedrunning genes on me.
Nice. So listen, you mentioned just before that it's easy to get like tactics or strategy to speedrun a game. So back in your day when you were doing the speedrunning, how did you prepare for this? Did you read about the glitches, to use the glitches to get through the levels the fastest, or how would you basically prepare to speedrun a game? Because I don't know much about speedrunning. I never sort of like interested in it, so I've never like watched people. I never read about it, so it's all sort of new to me. But it's an interesting topic, how people prepare, because I know it takes a lot of time to beat the record and to be the best. But surely it takes some preparation to do that. It's not just like you don't just play the game.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Like. There are several approaches on how to speedrun a game. Well, there's my approach. I personally like just playing the game, trying to improve, trying to play without watching anyone. And once I reach a point that I feel like I cannot like take down my time anymore, like then I watch other speedrunners to see like what they do, if there's other strategies. And then, well, if there are other strategies or they solve something that solve it in a different way than me, I try to analyze which way is faster, or if I can combine that particular strategy they use in a section or somewhere. So you definitely need to have a keen eye. Well, I mean, it helps, right? But you know, everyone is different. There's people who just immediately straight away prepare like save states in sections and they practice over and over again, or they just watch the world record holder and try to mimic what they did. And then if on the way they find something else or somebody else comes to their chat, the benefit of live streaming is that there's people watching, right? And sometimes they suggest you things to do, or sometimes they're actually speedrunners of the game as well, which is actually the community. And the community has a lot of tutorials, or you just ask them, oh, how do you do this trick? And you know, they answer to you because they're happy like you're playing their game, right?
Yeah.
So they have a lot of knowledge. Sometimes they don't have a person to share that with. See, like it's just like normal people, right? Like there's people who like cars and they have their friends and they talk for hours about cars. Like it's a gaming community, and if a speedrunner find another speedrunner of the same game, like they have a very common topic, right? And yeah, it really helped the
But it's good to hear that, you know, because basically you are trying to beat the record of other people, but they still will help you to do that, right? It's not like they will go, oh, it's my record, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, I mean, there's different approaches, right? But most of the players, like especially the very retro ones, are quite old. That you know they're not that selfish. And the speedrun community, like there's no like big companies or big teams sponsoring you or anything like that. So there's not that kind of jealousy that comes.
Just passion.
Just passion, exactly. We're driven by passion, love for the old games, and you know that makes it way easier to just be open about it. And at the end of the day, you have to accept, like, if someone has better skills than you, like, well, I mean, that's the way it is.
That's it, yeah, that's the way it is. But I think that may give you the motivation to, you know, to then try to be even better, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, everyone is different, but speedrunning at a top level takes time and skills too. And sometimes even like you might not have the skill to get a world record, and you might never get the record, like even if you try your hardest. Like that's something that it can happen. So but it's different. Everyone is different. There's people who just like to speedrun to get a specific time to say like, well, I mean, I'm not the fastest in the world, but you know, I beat this game and I can beat it at will. I beat it quite fast and I'm satisfied with the time or with the goal they had in mind, right?
Sure.
Because becoming a world record holder, it can be very difficult, and a lot of people who actually have not even tried, like they don't understand how taxing it is. Like there's people who, like me, I was getting world record in one game, in another, and another, but I mean, it was very difficult, right? Like, just like some people make it look very easy, but it's not, and it's really difficult, and not many people can do that.
Yeah, nice. That's that's good to hear. I'm really glad to hear that the community is so open and so sharing. It's good to hear. It's good to hear, definitely. So you've said before you like speedrunning, or you used to speedrun the games that you played in the childhood. Is there like any game that you really wanted to speedrun but never got round to do it, and you still want to do it?
The ones from my childhood?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mario 64. I mean, well, I'm not upset, but I would have loved to have a Mario 64 as a kid, like the console.
Mm-hmm.
The Nintendo 64. So that's a game that I really like a lot. but I know how hard it is to speedrun. So and especially a competitive game like that one. But it looks really amazing. So I like a lot Mario 64, Mario Kart 64 as well. Um, and that's
So
it. Probably
those
then
two,
then
fair enough.
then then, then only NES games.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just looking at the time. Well, I have about 10 minutes left, so I'll probably speed up a little of those questions. So, asking for someone who would like to start speedrunning the games, what would be your advice to sort of where should someone start when they want to start speedrunning the games, but I don't know how to go about it? What would you say to them?
Well, there is the first thing I tell them is like if you wanna speedrun a game, well, just do it. It's just it just basically you put a timer and then you're basically speedrunning, right? Like as long as you can beat the game, then whatever time you get, that's like your first time. But of course, like for very starters, like if they don't know how to stream, so probably that will be a good starting point, like how to actually stream, right? How to get your game image or footage to be shown on a stream, rather than locally recording. Like if you show it to the world, then I guess that's much better. So yeah, learning how to capture your video game. I mean, but it depends if it's a PC player or a console player. Like learn about capture cards if they want to have a webcam. Well, basically streaming tech, they need to get familiarized with that. But if it comes just to start to speedrun, well, probably a good starting point is a game that they like and enjoy, and they're willing to reset over and over again until they hate it. And just make little steps at a time, like just put like lucky there's websites like speedrun.com that have sometimes leaderboards of games, so there you can see who are the streamers and you can watch them, you can talk to them, and so that will be your community basically. If
Sure.
they have a Discord, ask the player who is actually streaming. If he doesn't know, he will tell you, oh, maybe this person knows, and like you start to have contact with the community, and then you can, like all the stories I told you can share like strategies and other things, which is great. So yeah, that would be like a good starting point.
Sounds really good. So I've seen you streaming because I've been lurking on some of your streams recently. I've seen you streaming loads of retro games like Last Ninja 2 recently. I enjoyed that game a lot. What was your first computer that you had, like the first ever?
My first computer was IBM in 1998.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
But 1998, so I mean, like when it comes like to computer systems, I never had a computer system. My first console was NES, and pretty much I had that console like for 11 years and never really got another console until I was a grown up, like 26 years old.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, it was the only one, and the only one that has my full heart.
Yeah.
The only one I have love for.
Did you play any retro Polish games?
I have played, yeah. I play a game that it's like a porn game.
I remember some of those.
It was a poker game. Poker.
Oh yeah. Strip poker or something.
Like strip poker, yeah.
Okay, nice.
That was one. I did play another game. It was Oil or something like that. It was like you had to drag like oil. You had to drag oil and then sell it. So it was. I mean, it's a Polish game.
All right, I don't remember this one. I remember games like Robo or Franco. You know Franco? If you don't know Franco, Piotr, I'll tell you, check Franco, just Franco.
Well, I mean, that is the thing. I really don't have a very big love for consoles like Commodore 64.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm doing right now. I mean, I have beaten over 206 games, which, well, not over, 206 games. which is crazy and more than a lot of people can say. And I will, well, actually more because I did beat 9 on the first season of the
Yeah.
project I was doing. But yeah, just I don't know. Like as I told you, like the only console that really have my heart is the NES.
NES. You're an NES man.
Yeah, NES lover. Yeah, today.
So I was going to ask you about your Polish roots, but you already said you're actually living in Poland now. I was going to ask about what is your favorite thing about Poland and your favorite place in Poland?
Well, my favorite thing, the food is great.
I was going to say it could be food.
I love eating. Food is great, but in general, like I think it's very historical Poland, and it's just it's very interesting for me, like to see how people in Poland think, like what they do, what is like normal for them. Because for me, like I was born and surrounded by Mexicans, right? So like I'm just more used to that mentality.
Sure.
That in here, like there's that little shock of what people think. Like for example, in Mexico, a lot of people just like makes conversations, like throwing out, like, oh yeah, I would love to read that book or something like that. And that's what you say in a normal conversation, but doesn't mean I want to read the book, right? It's just like a wish that that it's never gonna happen, but you just say it because like you're having a conversation, right? Like here in Poland, if you say that, like the next time you see your friend, they already gifted you the book, which is crazy. I mean, like it keeps happening to me, stuff like that. And I mean, just like a person who sees stuff like that.
And now you have all these books to read.
Exactly, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess I said that, right? Yeah, it's just like people takes you seriously. That's the thing.
Oh,
like,
brilliant.
and for me, like, I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's a shock to me, right?
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, see, I've not been living in Poland for 20 years, so it probably would have been a shock to me as well if I came back. Because when I was leaving Poland, it was a very different country to what it is now. So I think, yeah, just say I want to play that Commodore 64. The chat is saying.
And then they gift me a Commodore 64, right?
Nice.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. I really like the people, especially old people, like for how I think Polish like people are very brave, very hardworking people as well. I mean, I'm a hardworking people as well in my own way, but in general, they're very trusty people. I have to say, like Mexico, when someone tells you something, you have to believe. Sometimes they have. And here in Poland, if someone tells you something, or I'll be there. Like they're very loyal to their word. In general.
That's good to hear.
That's yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite nice. I know Polish people. They talk bad about Polish people as well. But,
that's something I noticed as well. Like, we like to talk bad about our own people, which is not that great, but
Yeah, but people coming from outside, at least me, and also speaking the language, like you get to actually really interact with how is the Polish culture, and sometimes they don't know what they have because they have not been elsewhere, right?
Yeah, definitely. So what's your favorite Polish food?
What is not?
Everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just really good. Everything.
Pierogi,
I personally like the flavor of the potatoes. It's insanely good in here. My favorite dessert is sernik, for sure.
Oh, yes. It's a bit different than like English or British cheesecake, isn't it? It's completely different.
Yeah. Anywhere else
I love Polish sernik.
The cheesecake is bad. But the cheesecake in Poland is top of the top. Like really.
It is, isn't it? With z rodzynkami, sernik z rodzynkami.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind them. Some people like the rodzynki or grapes on it. The dried grapes on it.
Yeah.
So it adds flavor. but yeah, it's just great about the food. Everything like bigos, gołąbki,
Oh, gołąbki.
kotlets schabowy z ziemniakami,
I've not
sos.
had gołąbki for ages, man. I would devour gołąbki right now. Now when you said it.
Yeah, and
Love
I did try
gołąbki.
different. My aunt actually, yeah, like the also another amazing thing is that in here, people cook very often at home. Like they really cook. Like in Mexico, people is lazy. They just go to a taqueria in the corner or to restaurant. But in here, people actually cook at home, and everyone cooks extremely good. It's just it's just a national thing. I think it's like a national sport, like cooking at home.
I think
Here
it's
in
true. You
Poland.
know, living in England, people don't cook here either. They don't cook that often. They prefer to go out or to buy something ready, put it in the microwave, and heat it up. But like we like to cook, don't we? Jesus, actually, that's actually true. I've never thought of that. You know.
I personally don't like cooking, but I do not cook bad, but I don't
But you
like
have
cooking.
Mexican, so maybe that's why.
Exactly.
That's your Mexican nature coming out.
That's maybe why I don't cook bad because of my Polish roots, and but I just love
Yeah.
it. I
It's
just
the
love
Mexican half coming out.
it.
Cool, nice one. All right, listen, we're running out of time now. I would love to speak to you more. Like every single guest today was so interesting, and I think the next year I need to make these interviews like 2 hours long because there's never enough time to speak to people about this. But I have to finish unfortunately because I have another thing and I have another guest coming up.
All right.
For another interview. This is actually, if you want to, it's gonna be, well, you can speak in Polish, so it's actually the author of the first ever Polish video game on ZX Spectrum. And this game was previously or recently re-released on a cassette tape. Like in 2021, they re-released the game for ZX Spectrum on a cassette tape. So I'm gonna do a little unboxing because I've got this special edition of the game, and then I'm gonna speak to Marcin Borkowski, who is the author of this game. When you said like about Elite that they made this coding magic to make this game so well on this limited system, so this game that I'm gonna be showing in a minute, or speaking to Marcin about it, he made it as the project he was trying to basically use the Spectrum's memory in a very efficient way, and he started coding the game, and then this game just came out like that. So hopefully it's going to be interesting talk. But anyway, TMR, thank you very, very much for being here. Thank you for coming here, answering all of the questions. Really nice speaking to you.
No problem. It was also very nice to meet you in Facecam.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm glad like I could answer some of your questions for you and your audience.
Hopefully you can speak sometime soon, maybe again. I'll be coming to your live streams because I really enjoyed lurking in your Twitch.
All right, yeah. Feel free and your audience to just drop a follow over there.
Yeah, I can give a little shout out. Let me just quickly do this while it's still here. Where are you?
I'm gone.
There we go.
I'm gone but never left.
So let's just do this. There you go, guys. Follow the Mexican Runner on Twitch. Pop in, say hello from rootsrat. TMR, thank you very much. Very nice to speaking to you. And see you later.
Yeah, good luck with the marathon.
Thank you. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye.
Excellent.